Open wide for some soccer!
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Canada Cup here from Halifax, Nova Scotia. JP, unfortunately, isn't here with us because I think work or something, or at least that was his excuse.
I don't know what you're talking about, Ben. He's right here. Hey, Greece.
Greece.
Goaltending.
Panathinaikos.
Nat Phillips is my favorite player.
Etc. So it's just going to be me and John here today in actuality. But that's fine. We're just going to have a little more of a loose show today. It's a beautiful day here in Halifax. We're all feeling a little more in the spring mood. And guess what? This was actually an amazing weekend. You know why, John?
Liverpool didn't ruin my weekend?
Exactly. Liverpool did not lose this weekend.
It's true.
That is something we can firmly say. So for that reason, we're just going to kind of have some fun here. We're going to talk about some of the stuff that happened that did affect Liverpool's, such as the Champions League draw. Some of the guys going out on international duty. A little controversy in a couple cases. And, we'll just talk about some other crazy rumors that keep popping up. So what do you say, John? You feeling pretty good?
Let's do this.
Okay, so
what we can say for sure, Ben, is that this podcast is officially an Android podcast.
It is. We
completely against Apple.
It's true.
If you're listening on an Apple device, that's fine. Just let us know.
Actually, it's not fine. Shut it off.
Just let it be known.
Go to your nearest cell phone provider. Buy yourself a better phone.
You're no longer our favorite listener. You're just our second favorite listener.
Yeah, we spent about an hour trying to figure out how to record this on a Mac before we gave up, and I'm doing it on a Chromebook now. So
we're doing it live, baby.
Yeah, so Tim Apple, you're officially on the hot seat. Yeah. Okay, so let's kick things off, John. Obviously, biggest news of the the past couple of days here was the Champions League draw that just went down last Friday, and we drew an old enemy from a couple years ago in Real Madrid. What are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, it was the draw that I wanted more than any other. Obviously, like the draw for anybody out there, we'll talk about the other games, I'm sure, but Liverpool drew at Real Madrid, Chelsea drew Porto, PSG drew Bayern Munich, and City got Dortmund. Shocking, actually, that City didn't get Porto, but
or Oxford United,
or just like the Halifax Wanderers, whatever. But
I would have put a lot of money on City, suspiciously getting Porto. But no, I think that'll be. We'll talk about this a little bit later. But I got to say, I think City and Dortmund will provide some entertainment. But first, what are your initial thoughts about the rematch from Kiev 2018?
I think I said last week that this is what I wanted. I think this was actually the draw that I called that I wanted, because to me, Liverpool plays at their best when they are up against a team that they're considered to be, for whatever reason, considered to be the underdog against. You look at us against Bayern the year that we won the Champions League. Us against Barcelona, of course, that same year.
Up against City when we got to the final.
Exactly,
playing Real Madrid.
Just those moments where we're considered to be the underdog. I didn't want to play another Premier League team at this stage in the tournament. Obviously, not the ideal sort of set of circumstances. I think we have too much baggage in the Premier League right now.
I think we have a habit of losing a lot.
Well, I think we're starting to overcome that a little bit. We're starting to see positive signs anyhow. Just like little tufts of spring, but much like a spring here in Nova Scotia, there is the chance of another winter storm like we saw on Friday this past week. But playing up against Madrid over two legs, that has been what I've wanted for a little while. We haven't played Madrid against over two legs in a hot minute.
I think it was 2008, I want to say.
In a knockout for sure.
Yeah.
But I think the last time that we played them in a home and away was Brendan Rodgers' first and only foray as a Liverpool manager in Europe.
I think you might be right. Now, the one thing you got to remember about Real Madrid that I keep thinking of is that the Real Madrid of 2018 is surely not the Real Madrid of today. There's some notable absentees in Cristiano Ronaldo, of course, but how could we forget Gareth Bale not coming back to haunt us with a couple bicycle kicks? So, I think I'm with you. I think of all the ties we could have gotten, would not have liked an immediate Premier League opposition. However, Real Madrid, I think they're third in La Liga right now, chomping at the bit behind Barca and Atletico Madrid. So they're certainly not, they're not pushovers by any means. But I think, save maybe Porto, they might be the easiest opposition we could have drew.
Like, I don't think, like, I think, yeah, maybe like on current form or whatever, but there is still something to be said about, like, you know, there is, much like there is Liverpool in Europe, there is Real in Europe. There is, you know, there's Zizou in Europe. You know what I'm saying?
They've won a couple Champions Leagues. Yeah.
But I think, like, it's kind of an ideal draw. Like, also from, like, let's take this at the most cynical, most negative that we possibly can. They're a good enough team that it's like it should be a great match and it should be entertaining and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, okay, it's no slouch if you lose to Real Madrid in the Champions League. Like, that's nothing. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's a good point. I think I think you're absolutely correct that they can turn it on in Europe. They've been a little shaky though in the round of 16 against Atalanta. You know, they moved through, but they conceded a couple bad ones. They weren't as comfortable against Atalanta as the likes of Diogo Jota was. But they still have that pedigree. Benzema, he's getting older, but he can still do it. You know, Thibaut Courtois, I think he's finally settled into Real Madrid as a decent keeper. So I think I think
Eden Hazard only has like 7 injuries. So
yeah, I mean he won't be playing. Don't worry, he won't be playing for 2 years at least. And then of course Sergio Ramos.
Oh, Ramos.
So he will be there, fit and firing.
Depending on which rumor mongery you ask, future Liverpool player,
or future Arsenal player.
Yeah. Oh
you
my
never know
God!
that.
Can you imagine?
This is Sergio Ramos' last dance. So, will he be a gentleman or will he go to finish the job?
He took that serious. He took that personally. Yeah,
is he going to finish the job with Mo Salah, or what do you think? Or do you think Mo Salah is going to exact his revenge? Stick Nat Phillips on him. Every Gretzky needs a McSorley, and I think Salah might have his Nat Phillips to do the dirty work.
You know what? We're just speaking of Last Dance. We're coming up on a year from the Last Dance release last year. So
great documentary, but depressing in that it was supposed to be released during the NBA Finals. And then they decided to speed it up to boost everyone's morale, which worked because it was a great show.
I mean, that was like, I don't know, like I was having like weird, like I'm sure it's happening to you too, Ben, but like I'm having like various things popping up in my memories on Facebook. Like when I had left my last job, showed up the other day and like just saw like all of these like, oh, I was supposed to be in Toronto this week last year and that didn't happen.
You know what I got today actually? An email from Uber Eats saying today is your 1-year anniversary for signing up for Uber Eats. And oh, what a year we've had, Uber Eats and I. Magical. So some good things do come. Okay, so Real Madrid, we got that. Now, if we should be successful against Real Madrid, we're up against either Chelsea or Porto in the semifinals. Now, Porto has been a usual suspect we've seen in the Champions League knockout stage, but I think we got to be honest here. Chelsea's likely going to win that tie.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I think like the thing about Chelsea right now under Thomas Tuchel is like he's got them not conceding a lot, but they also aren't scoring a lot. So it's a matter of like if he's able to turn that corner, he's able to round that edge. You know, he's able to square that circle. He's able to use that weird simile analogy. There's the word I was looking for. I think like Porto Chelsea is like the most interesting on paper draw of the round. I don't think it's necessarily going to be the most entertaining match, but I think it's going to be the most interesting to see, both in terms of like I don't really know Porto. Like Porto a couple of years ago was they were lighting the world on fire and like it looked like they were back in terms of like how they were under Jose back in the day.
Grujic is over there in Porto. Potential revenge game is brewing.
I mean, if Porto does go through and Liverpool do go through, Porto doesn't have that particular sword in their arsenal.
So I got to ask, because this has always been something I've been curious about. Is that actually, or is that entirely based on your loan deal, or is that always the case that you can't play against your parent club?
I think it's built into the loan deals.
I don't know what Grucic's deal is. I would imagine it probably isn't, simply because I don't think Liverpool would have assumed they would ever meet Porto.
I think it's probably just again, I don't know this for sure, but I think it's like a standard.
I know that's usually
clause.
the case, and that happens a lot. I know that was, but then you occasionally see it. So remember when Bayern Munich thumped Barca, and Phil Coutinho scored I think twice.
Actually, that's
against
an
his parent
point.
club in the semifinals. I think it is built into the contract, but we'll have to see. But Porto does have Pepe as their captain, center back, and you got to give Porto some credit there. They took down Juventus pretty handily.
Yeah, I mean, as we noted last week, first time in how many years that no Cristiano, no Messi.
It was on a certain anniversary, wasn't it?
Yeah, something about that. I don't know.
Okay, so that's that's Porto, and that's Chelsea. Let's move on to the other side of the bracket. So we got a rematch of last year's Champions League final, Bayern PSG.
I'm just glad that we're not going to see PSG beyond this round, and that's all that I really had to say.
I mean, I think you're right, but PSG they're not terrible. They're not doing well in the league right now, but hey, neither's Liverpool.
Yeah,
neither's Real Madrid. Neither's Juventus. I mean, Juventus is out now, of course, but I think PSG's still got some talent. I think Neymar's done celebrating with his sister, so he should be back and fit. I think his morale should be up a little bit. And then, of course, you got future Liverpool player Kylian Mbappe leading the attack for PSG as well. So
it's true. I do not see, I think PSG, I mean, obviously they made the Champions League final last year. I think that was a little bit circumstances.
Yeah, remember last year the French league was suspended, so they had nothing to do but focus on the Champions League.
Yeah, so I think circumstances are circumstances there. I just I have a hard time seeing a team like PSG. The knock against PSG is that they are they're a Petro State's PR wing. They don't have necessarily the pedigree in Europe that they're trying to buy. I just think when the chips are down and you're up against a machine like Bayern Munich, I'm giving it to Bayern.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd be inclined to agree with you on that. Okay, so the last matchup. Manchester City's lawyers failed to bribe enough, and they ended up drawing Borussia Dortmund. A fairly formidable opponent, the likes of Erling Haaland as well. So what do you make of that one? Do you think City will make it through?
I think that is the entertainment match of the tie. Dortmund versus City is going to be absolutely huge. It's going to be interesting to see, is Haaland... Obviously, Haaland is having the couple of seasons of most people's lives. He's absolutely unstoppable right now, and he's scoring for fun, and is just wildly talented and successful for a kid his age. I don't want to say this will be the proof of whether or not he's the real deal, but it's going to be interesting to certainly see if this side, along with the likes of Jadon Sancho, who probably wants to make a point against his former
Jude
club.
Bellingham as well.
Yeah. This Dortmund side is young, it's hungry, it's talented. Certainly, I think City has the deeper bench, but I might actually kind of give the edge to, because what's going to happen is Pep's going to end up playing a weird 1-3-5-7 or some crap.
He'll overthink it,
and unlike me, who just underthunk how many players are allowed on the pitch at one point in time. But
I mean, Pep could play that.
Listen, it's
they could probably bribe their way out of it. So yeah.
Wilder things have happened, but I think that it's a younger squad. It's a less deep squad than City, but I kind of give Dortmund the edge.
I think City will go through personally, but I think it won't be a walk for them. I just think City they have that depth. Now, whoever City has to meet that in the semifinal, I think might be their undoing. But on that note, give me because it is March Madness. Shout out Sister Jean.
Angry early spring insanity.
There you go. Give me your bracket.
All right, I will say Liverpool go through just because I'm a homer. I will give Chelsea the nod against Porto, so Liverpool-Chelsea in the next round. I will give, I said Bayern, and I said...
Bayern versus PSG, so you're going to give it to Bayern.
And I said Dortmund, so it's it's all England versus all German in the semis.
That's like Dunkirk. Yeah.
Again, I will give Liverpool the nod against Chelsea just for memory's sake. 2005, I will give. You know what? I'll go Dortmund again.
Oh.
And then what can happen is both sides can raise the trophy hand in hand with a big banner, because there'll be fans in the stands. Big banner that just says "Danke, Jurgen."